POV. You work for Simeon Yetarian. The business card says Premium Deluxe Motorsport, legitimate automotive dealership, Pillbox Hill, clean showroom, expensive cars behind glass that nobody who walks through that door can actually afford. That's not an accident or poor judgment. That is the entire business model. Simeon Yetarian sells cars to people with bad credit, worse prospects, and absolutely no shot at keeping up with the payment plan he personally designed to fail. They miss a payment, he sends you. You bring the car back, he sells it again, to someone else who can't afford it. Same car, fresh contract, infinite loop. You are not a repo man, but a key component in a predatory lending machine dressed up in a suit and called an associate. Welcome to the job. Your first morning, Simeon sits across from you at his desk, hands folded, accent thick, energy of a man who has rehearsed this exact speech 40 times and still finds it moving, and explains that this work requires discretion, speed, and loyalty. He says loyalty the way people say it when they mean compliance. He tells you the pay is competitive. It is not competitive. You will discover this on your first repo when you risk your life, 2 wanted stars, and a perfectly good pair of running shoes to bring back a BJ XL worth 40 grand, and Simeon hands you enough to cover a Los Santos taxi ride with no tip. You think about asking questions. You look at Simeon's face. You do not ask questions. The texts start immediately, not during business hours or at a reasonable time. Simeon Yetarian operates on a schedule that suggests he does not sleep, does not eat, and exists purely as a vehicle for sending you increasingly unhinged job requests at hours that should be illegal, 3 a.m. There is a rapid GT on Innocence Boulevard. The client has become delinquent. Retrieve it immediately. Time is of the essence. You look at the address. Innocence Boulevard is in Strawberry. At 3 a.m., the Ballas own that block. The car is probably parked directly in front of their trap house as a personal challenge. You go anyway, because the rent in Los Santos is insane, and Simeon is currently your only source of income. The first thing you learn about repo work is that nobody gives up a car quietly. Simeon frames these jobs like you're picking up a parcel from a front porch, just swing by, grab the keys, done. What he never mentions is that the client has had 3 weeks to emotionally bond with this vehicle, has in several cases slept in this vehicle, and will be standing next to it with 2 cousins and a baseball bat when you arrive. You develop a system. Park a block away. Walk casual. Get in fast. Leave faster. Don't make eye contact, and don't explain yourself. The moment you start explaining yourself, you've already lost the initiative, and someone is already on the phone calling people who own firearms. Midway through your second week, Simeon texts you about a Fusillade parked near the LSPD Rockford Hills station. You read that twice. The car is adjacent to a police precinct. You call Simeon. He answers on the first ring, which means he was waiting for you to call, which means he knew. He tells you the situation is not ideal, but expresses full confidence in your abilities, uses the word professional 3 times in one sentence, and hangs up before you can respond. You steal the car from next to the police station. You get 2 stars immediately. You lead a pursuit down Rockford Drive, through the Richmond intersection, across 3 lawns, and somehow into a parking structure where you lose them on level 4. You deliver the car. It has a new scratch on the passenger door from the parking structure pillar. Simeon notices the scratch. He adjusts your payment accordingly. Here is what nobody tells you about Simeon's operation from the outside. The cars are never where they're supposed to be. The address he sends is a starting point, a suggestion, a rough spiritual direction toward the vehicle's general area. The actual car could be in a locked lot, in someone's garage, in the middle of a Vagos cookout. Once you followed the coordinates to a car that was parked on the Maze Bank Arena forecourt during what appeared to be an impromptu street race, 12 cars, 20 people. Music loud enough to register on the Richter scale. Your target was the yellow elegy in the middle of it all, hemmed in on all sides, not going anywhere quickly. You got it out. You still don't know exactly how. Muscle memory and desperation are a powerful combination. The GTA Online boys find out about Simeon's list, and suddenly your job acquires a new layer of difficulty nobody asked for. Simeon's wanted vehicles get broadcast to the entire session because the universe has a sense of humor. Every player in Los Santos can now see exactly which car you're in and exactly where you're going. You become, functionally, a moving target with a cash reward attached. The oppressor MK2 appears from behind a billboard within 90 seconds. You're in a mildly tuned Sentinel trying to reach the docks, and there's a missile-armed flying motorcycle treating you like a bonus objective. You call Simeon. He says the exposure is an acceptable operational risk. You remind him that it is not his risk. He tells you he has great faith in your ability to adapt. Wasted. By the 3rd week, you have developed opinions about every car on Simeon's list. The Obey 9F handles clean, but the owners always live on hills, which means you're doing a rolling start into traffic every single time. The Declasse Asia is embarrassingly slow, And the only thing worse than being chased by cops is being chased by cops while driving something that couldn't outrun a determined jogger. The Gallivanter Baller is roomy, comfortable, and owned exclusively by people who live in gated communities with private security who take their job very seriously. You've been tased 3 times this month by private security. Simeon reimburses you for none of it. The money is just slightly wrong in the way that makes you second-guess yourself before you second-guess him. You do the math in your head. Something's off. You bring it up. Simeon sighs, the sigh of a man carrying the weight of a misunderstood genius, and explains that fuel costs, administrative fees, and the volatile nature of the current market have all been factored into your compensation. He says this with complete sincerity. He has said this exact sentence so many times, it no longer sounds like a lie to him. You take the money. You go home. You do it again tomorrow because Franklin Clinton did it and Lamar Davis did it, and everyone who has ever needed quick cash in Los Santos has ended up in Simeon's phone contacts eventually. What Simeon has actually built underneath the dealership front, underneath the repo operation, underneath the contracts written in font size 6, is a machine that prints money using other people's desperation as ink. He finds the people who need a car to get to work, he gives them terms they can almost meet. Almost. And the moment they can't, the car comes back and the cycle resets. No violence required. No dirty hands, just paperwork and a very persuasive accent. In Liberty City terms, this man would be running a crew. In Los Santos, he has a showroom on a respectable street and a business license and a handshake deal with half the city's financial infrastructure. He is, by every technical definition, legitimate, which might be the most GTA thing in this entire city. Your last job of the week is a Pegassi Vaca. Sports car. Beautiful. Owned by a guy in Rockford Hills who bought it 6 months ago and missed exactly 1 payment, because Simeon structured the plan so that missing 1 payment triggers a full repossession clause buried on page 11 of a 14-page contract written by a lawyer whose loyalty was also purchased in advance. You find the car. It's in a driveway, unlocked. No dogs, no cousins, no private security. You get in. You drive to the drop point. You deliver it in perfect condition, not a scratch. Simeon inspects it, nods once, and tells you that you show real promise. He pays you 60% of what he quoted. You stare at the payment notification, you stare at Simeon, he's already texting you the next address. You just spent a week stealing cars for a man who charges administrative fees on a job he never leaves his showroom for. But here's the thing, every car you grabbed, every pursuit you ran, every 2-star wanted level you burned through on the Rockford Hills freeway, somebody was on the other end of that radio. Next video, same streets. Different side of the law. Somehow, even worse odds. POV. You are an LSPD officer in Los Santos. Click to watch it next.